Hi, we're going to dive into the movable shapes and chords, the 5 movable shapes. We're going to begin with what they are. Most guitarists, when we first learn to play, we learn basic chords in the open position. E, we learn A, we usually learn D, we learn C, and we learn G, typically. And we don't know why they're there, that's what they are. It's just that however we're learning out of a book or from a buddy or something, they tell us that. So now we're going to look at the first one, E. Now in the E chord, let's look at what the order of the intervals is on a per string basis. E we know is the root. We know now that B is the 5th of E, and we can hear that 5th. We know that on the 4th string there's another E, so there's another root, if you will. And then on the 3rd string is a G sharp. Our ears can hear that that's a major 3rd, not a minor 3rd. Okay, or we intellectually know that that shape on those strings is a major. We've doubled up the B on the 2nd string open, same here, that 5th again, and we've played another E. So out of the 6 strings, you'll notice that there's only 3 different notes. Okay, a root, a 5th, a root, a 3rd major, a 5th, and a root. Or in terms of degrees, 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. Okay. So typically people will orient to that chord based on the 6th string root, and some people will say even R6 or something like. But most people will say E shape, root on the 6th string. But the root's also on the 4th string and also on the 1st. Now, to make it movable, what we do is we switch the fingering from the first 3 fingers to the 2nd group of 3. And so the ring comes over to the 5th, the pinky tucks in on the 4th, and the middle finger takes the 3rd string. Have exactly the same shape, exactly the same sound. Now let's move it up for a second without putting the bar down, just move everything up a half step. Kind of an interesting sound, and let's put the F down. Now many of you will recognize that sound as part of the Soleil, the F we play in Soleil. Okay, I've left the bar up on the first 2 strings. You got it. Now I'm going to put the bar all the way across, and we have an F major chord. Now we know that's F. Before somebody might have just said, well, that's just F, and we memorized it. But now we know that we can hear that major 3rd in there. So when we hear major 3rds, they sound distinctly different to our ears than minor 3rds. And we know that there's roots under the 6th string, the 4th string, and the 1st string, 5ths under the 5th and 2nd strings, and an A or major 3rd. So we have octaves in here, 2 sets of them. Also have another octave on the 5th, because we've doubled it, and that major 3rd. Now, just a word about the bar. There's been some discussion about that. Notice that when you play this full thing chord, that these 3 fingers are actually fretting notes. So the bar is really only getting the 1st string, and the 2nd string, and the 6th string. Now, if you lift up the 2nd finger, the middle finger, then you're going to have to get that 3rd string. And that can sometimes be a lot where the trouble lies. But don't feel like you have to push that 1st string in like some vice grip, because these fingers are giving you a lot of help. Also, classical players have a great way of thinking about this. They talk about how the arm is sitting here and the elbows pointed down to the floor, and they realize that there's a gravitational pull on the arm. So what they think of is they're using that gravitational pull to their advantage by thinking of that kind of coming into the fingerboard, if you will, a little bit like this, as opposed to just pushing straight into the fingerboard. It's just letting that angle and that gravity and that elbow fall, and it really helped me when a classical friend of mine was explaining, how they teach bar chords in classical music. A lot of times in rock and roll and other kinds of music, use electric guitars. It's not nearly so hard. Country music, use steel string guitars. It's a challenge there as well. So that's a good, helpful tip. Now, if we go up the fingerboard, all we're going to do is use our chromatic scale to identify that the next chord up in the second fret would be F sharp. If we took the bar off, we'd have F sharp. I mean, the middle finger off, we'd have F sharp minor. Now, notice that there is nothing new. We still have 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, or 1, 5, 1, flat 3, or minor 3, 5, 1. So if we go up, then we just go up G, A flat or G sharp, A, B flat or A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, or E flat, and now we're back to E. Okay, so guitarists usually orient this E shape to the E chord, no matter where it is. That there's roots on the first two strings, they're tuned the same, and there's another one on the fourth. Now when we come back the next time, we're going to look a little bit at some of the color tones that you can get off of this, and we'll be putting the cart before the horse a little bit because we won't have gotten into all those color tones, but I think you'll find it kind of fun.